So I'm going to show you some sample work from the UluntuXD My Canvas learner program, the UX and UI design program. So the learners produced all these artifacts, and I want to say that take what you wish to take and throw away whatever you want to throw away. But the most important thing is to show you the progressive nature of design, and the work is also quite progressive in nature. You'll see that some of it is far along from a design execution standpoint, also from like a creative execution perspective. Conceptually, some of it looks great and some of it is not quite mature as yet, and that's the whole purpose of being a part of the program of this nature, so that you get to learn, you get to be empowered. So I do want to show you, and I'm hoping that you can pick up the discrepancies between the different pieces of work, and then you can piece out yourself what would have been the ideal way to execute on the work. So this is one of my favorite pieces of work by the team. So the learners focused on building an e-commerce platform, and the learners that essentially worked on this piece of work, some of them didn't have prior experience in design at all. They only had their matric certificates and didn't have design experience. And the fact that they were able to transition from a place of no experience to basically executing on a brief that was provided by myself and some of the mentors within the program, I think it's quite exceptional that they can be able to take on the feedback throughout the process. And in future, I will record one of the videos focusing on the actual process that the learners go through to get into a place where they can deliver designs that are at this level, for example, because it's not just like execution of design, but there's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of thought and problem solving that goes into understanding the problem, understanding the users that you're trying, or the humans that you're trying to solution for. And most of our learners are quite versed with ethnographic research, for example. They know that they need to do proper research. They know that they need to follow the design methodology. And this changes from one context to the next as well. So you can see we go to the next phase of this end-to-end solution. They literally build a full-blown product, from the onboarding screens to the dashboard. I think we even went as far as the checking out the piece of work, and you can see they've incorporated AI into this feature and solution as well. And I'm going to be fast because I do need to be fast. There's a lot of work that ideally I would want to show you, and this was also a security app. It was called Tabe Abatu, and you can also see that conceptually, I think it brings out what the learners wanted to articulate. From a creative direction perspective, I think there's a lot of maturity and growth that can come into the app, but essentially they are able to communicate their ideas, which is the first stage or phase in design. And most people struggle to get to a place where they can truly refine requirements and conceptualize them into a product. And it progressed, they added more features, and you can even see that the design is getting polished as it goes or as it matures. And I think that was the last screen. And this is also another a beautiful piece of work, the anti-bullying app. And I'm saying it's beautiful in terms of like its intentions and what the solution is. It's for high school learners for reporting bullying. I think it's a brilliant solution, and it's one of the apps that was still in progress. Do not steal this intellectual property. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic piece of work. And the app, in terms of maturity as well, it's progressing. The learners are learning how to basically layer out this type of solution. You can see here that they have went into more detail. There is a little bit of like information architecture and structure involved so that a user can do different things. And they tried to basically empathize with the user in terms of like groupings and positioning what would be most ideal for the learner that's facing an experience that's threatening within the school environment. And there's a lot more. I think there's like a panic button there, as you can see, and this is more conceptual and creative work also that the learners got to do. And there are other pieces of work, but I think this video is already too long. I will show you more of this work. I'll record it. What I want to say as the final sort of like reflection of the work is that design is quite strategic in nature, and the type of value that you want the learners to position on or bring on the table, it's the strategic element and not necessarily wireframe machines, people who can execute on wireframes, but individuals that can take on requirements, critique it, refine it, and get to the root cause of the problems. And then they can think quite creatively around how to solution for the human being that's going to be utilizing or benefiting from the product. And there's a process we go through to help them to tick certain boxes to say, this is what a good product looks like, this is what a good solution looks like, because you have went through this methodology, but you have also immersed your humanity and yourself in the process of building for this person, because you are a human at the end of the day, and you have to think about how your own experiences also influence how you design. So those are some of the things that we help them with to figure out, and also how to stretch yourself from an imagination and innovation and creativity standpoint. You want to build products that basically last and stay relevant over time. It can't be that you have delivered a solution that your client the following year have to hire somebody else to transform the product because you were not as transformative enough. Now your product is outdated. You have to think about things like that. How do you build platforms that stand the test of time as far as innovation and creativity is concerned? Things like that. And then I'm not going to bore you with the semantics around usability itself. We tap into CX, research, content writing. All of those things are very, very important in design. And like I said before, the psychology people, the understanding of the human behavior, how people think, how people make decisions. Because one of the most persistent things in human nature is that it's how we behave. The type of values we hold, the type of attributes or virtues we have as individuals, they tend to be recurring and consistent. And that's how you can build predictability into platforms. But we'll share more. Sharp.